Hey everyone, it's Jessica here with Spiegel Mom's Scraps. You can use my code Jessica15 in the shop to save 15% off your order. So today I'm pulling out an older collection, which is by Coco Vanilla Studio. And I say an older collection, but honestly, it's really not that old. It's one of my absolute favorites, and I'm pulling that out to use on this layout today. And I've got a photo here of my little guy. I'm going to create some little banner strips to go across my page, and I'm going to thread some sequins through them. So I have all of these papers here. I'm just going to pull out some of my scraps that are from previous layouts. I'm going to cut out that little ditty from that one cut apart sheet and use a couple of those little wordy bits that I cut off. And I'm just flipping through, seeing if I have any more scraps laying in here. I do in the back, so I've pulled a couple of those out. And I just want a whole bunch of banners across this page, but in various colors. So that's why I'm pulling out all of my scraps on this layout. So I've got my photo here of my little guy just being his normal everyday self. He's my little wild child, and I have my date written on the back of my photo because that's how I store them in my unfinished scrapbook albums. I use them in date order and page protector so that I know which ones I need to scrap, and they're in order by dates, and the dates are written on the back. So it's make it sit super easy for me. So I'm just creating some strips here. My strip sizes were 6.5 inches long by 1.25 inch wide, and then I just kind of fold them over and trim out that little banner piece at the tips of them. So I'm just cutting off a little triangle to recreate that. So I've got my little strips here. I'm just going to line them up, staggering them as I go. I'm going to keep them pretty close together because I don't want a whole lot of space whenever I bend them up. I want to actually lift them up off of the page to create some dimension. So I don't want them too far apart because then there will be big spaces in between them. So this one in the middle, I'm just going to fake that one and make it look like it's a full-size one, but it's actually not. I just had a little scrap of that piece of paper, so I really like the pattern and I wanted to use it, so I just faked it out and made it look like it goes the whole way behind the photo, but it actually doesn't. I love that star print. It's one of my absolute favorite patterns of all time, so I made sure to incorporate a little strip of that on this layout, and then I just felt like I needed one more color in here. Why? I don't know, but I have all the colors here, but I felt like I needed to balance it out with some more blue on that side. So it's funny because as I'm looking at this layout here while I'm editing the video, I'm actually seeing that I laid these out in a certain direction in a certain way. And then when I actually went to place my photo down after I threaded all the sequins through, I flipped it upside down and it actually goes the other direction, but it doesn't matter. It's just funny to me now looking at this because whenever I was messing with it and creating with it, I didn't even notice that I flipped it until just now. But I remember that yellow one being on the right side here, and I know in the finished layout and the finished photos, it's on the left side. So I'm just matting my photo with some smooth white cardstock first, and then with that stripy pattern paper that I love, and I just went ahead and distressed the edges of that to give it some texture on my photo. So I really didn't know what title I was going to use on this layout, so I just pulled out a whole bunch of these little die cuts. These are the title pieces that came in this collection, and there's a whole bunch of them, but I'm just laying them out and seeing kind of what goes together. There's a couple different phrases in here that have 2 words to them, or I think some actually might have 3 words. But anyway, I chose this kid because it sums him up so perfectly because he's just a crazy kid, and he's wild and he's fun and just amazing, and I'm just watching him learn and grow, and I just love it. I hate that he's growing and getting bigger, but I love watching him grow and learn new things. It's just amazing to me to just see how kids process information and what they do with it and their little procedures and how they play with certain items. It just fascinates me. So he is my little wild child, and we love him. And I felt like he needed a little bit of a wild layout. So I chose this kid as my title. I'm going to go ahead and get my little cutting mat here. This is like a paper piercing mat. It's foam. It came from the So Easy collection, and I'm using the punch tool here that I actually use for brad setting, and I'm just punching little holes in the top and bottom of my banner strips. Then I'm just threading some hemp here through a needle, which is actually very hard to do. I used a needle threader on the first one. I actually separated the hemp out so that it wasn't so many strands because it was never going to go through my needle. And I just use regular cheap needles that have small heads on them. The heads on these have to be small enough to go through the sequins. So you can't have a head on them that's really big because then it's not going to fit through the center of those sequins. But it also has to be big enough to get your thread through there. So it's kind of you have to find that happy balance, and you have to get one that suits both the size of your thread that you're going to use as well as fitting through those sequins. So I just picked up some really cheap, I mean, they were less than $5 for that pack of like, I don't know, 50 or 100 needles or something like that. So they're super cheap. I got them in the Kraft section, and I just got them at Walmart. So they're nothing fancy, but it works well for this. Like I said, they fit really well through these sequins. It's easy to get those through there. There's no tightness there where that head of the needle is or anything like that. So they do go through really easy. It's just the main challenge there is getting your thread through there. So a lot of times with that embroidery floss, and especially with the hemp that I'm using here on some of these, I had to separate out the threads and take a couple of them off. A lot of times they're like 4 to 6 strands. So if you just remove a couple of those strands, then it usually goes through my needle just fine. So I'm just finishing up this one. I'm only going to show you one of these because you don't have to watch me do every single one, but that's all I do. I tape the bottom of it. I kind of come up through the back, tape it down, and then thread my sequins, and then go through the top and tape it to the back side. So here's my photo. I'm going to place that back on. Here's where I actually flip the layout the other way, and the yellow is on that left side, but I like it this way, obviously, so I guess that's why I ended up leaving it. So here I am just using some easy tear tape to actually adhere my photo down to my layout, and I'm just gonna make sure that I place that in between my sequins. I left the part underneath my photo kind of bare with sequins, that way it wasn't crunching underneath my photo and making it hard to apply it to the page. So I left that blank, and I just kind of put the sequins on the tops and bottoms of those strands, and then I made sure that that fit directly between those other 2 strands of sequins. So here I really like this title, but I didn't want to cover up all those beautiful sequins, so I'm just going to put them underneath these strands. So the sequins that I've used today are the World Atlas sequins by Spiegel Mom Scraps, and you can grab those in the shop with my code Jessica15. I did check, they are still in stock. So I know Jody was doing a lot of cleanup in the shop and clearancing out a bunch of them. So if you want to grab those and any other ones, my code Jessica15 will save you 15%. So head on over and grab those before she puts them in the clearance bin. So here I'm just going to pull out a bunch of embellishments, and I'm just going to add a bunch of things to this layout to finish this up. So I'm going to add some little banner strips here to the top, a little tab. I'm going to add some stars and little like planets and circly elements and just whatever I can basically find. I'm trying to finish out this chipboard sheet, so I'm going to use up some of those circles that are left on there. And I'm grabbing my Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine here just to add some splatters and some gold on the top and bottom. And then I felt like it needed some more color, so I've also grabbed my Kaiser Kraft Turquoise. It's like a spritz spray, or let me see what it's actually called. I'm sitting right here at my desk. Kaiser Mists in Turquoise Iridescent Spray. That's what it's called. So I'm going to do that on the top as well, just to give it some more color. And then again, I'm just going to pull off a bunch of these elements off of this chipboard set that I'm trying to use up, but I still don't quite use this one up. I think I've bought this collection several times because I just love it so much. It's great for boy and girl layouts and just many random things I've used it for. So I love it, and I just keep going back to it. Then I have these cute little, they're like wood stars. They're checkered, and they're by the Not Just for Boys Kit Club. So I've got some of those. I might pull out one of those and use on this too. And I'm just going to add a bunch of random stuff. So I really like these little banner pieces. These are the ones I cut off of that one cut apart sheet in the beginning of my video. I just kind of saw it and thought that that would look cute on this layout, so I left them out. And then here I'm just sticking them down with some Gina K shaker strips. And they're just little foam 3D strips that you can pop up. So perfect for this layout, but I just grabbed those because they were right here beside me, but you can also use the 3D Big Mama foam tape rolls that are in the shop as well. They work perfect for that. And then I'm just going to finish embellishing this. Love this little rocket. That looks super cute there. Gonna pop that little guy up too, and then just put a bunch of other stuff on here. So let me pop some music in here for you, and then I will stop back in at the end with the finished layout. So here is the finished layout. I just love how this one turned out with my little guy. And I hope you guys enjoyed this process today. I hope I've inspired you to create something. Feel free to scrapbook this and anything that I create. That's why I'm here. And if you want to grab that sequin mix from the shop, be sure to get it. The code is Jessica15 if you want to save 15%. So thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.